Alrighty, we are back live, day 2 of Big 12 Media Days. I am the governor of college football, and we got two very special guests coming up. We are going to be talking to Ross Dellenger, which we talked to earlier, had a great conversation about college football, and we talked a little bit about, the sport that we see in season and how pure the sport is, but we also talked about the semantics of the sport and some of the things we deal with during the off season. Also coming up at any given moment now, we're having Greg McElroy, one of the most brilliant minds in the sport. Love his show. Always college football. Does a fantastic job, and he's been, a part of the college football realm for a very long time. So we're talking to both of those gentlemen today. Greg McElroy will be live. We previously recorded Ross Dellenger a little bit earlier, but it's been an exciting day. Day 2. We got to see Colorado in the motion that they had. Got to see Deion Sanders. Of course, he brought the house down. I seen everybody at Radio Row get up out of their seats and go up there and watch him. And the transparency that you get with him, the honesty that you get with him, it's really unlike anything, we seen. Also, I got to get a, up close view. Him and Pete Thamel were talking. And, he just keeps it real 24/7. So it was pretty good seeing, what that was going to be like. So it's been a great day, too. We got to speak with a lot of programs. We talked to TCU today, talked to Houston today. I talked to Arizona today, Utah. Shout out to all the SIDs. It's been a truly great experience coming here, Radio Row. A shout out to Matt Enser, who kind of, orchestrates this event from the media perspective, who sends out the credentials, invites, and, kept us in the loop with everything, letting us know we were going to be on Radio Row and all of that stuff. So it's just been truly a fantastic experience, and something I'll always remember. And the fact that, Matt Enser, who kind of orchestrates this entire event, came up to Moon, talked to Moon. Him and Moon had a very positive discussion, and he was just saying thank you guys for showing up on time. Thank you guys for being active the entire time. Thank you guys for being here both days, and that goes a long way. That truly goes a long way, and we truly feel appreciated, and more importantly, we feel respected by the Big 12. And it looked like Greg McElroy is on his way over here now. Super excited for this. So I'm going to get him set up. Let me unmute his mic. And then it's coming up right now. Hey, how's it going? I'm doing pretty well. Nice to meet you, brother. Yeah, nice to meet you, Greg. All right, so we about to get him mic'd up. Yeah. So we're live, Greg, just to give you a heads up. Super excited to have you on the show. You're one of the brightest minds in college football, and we were eager to get you on the show. So we're gonna get right into it, brother.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about your playing days. What was that like being in Tuscaloosa? Such a hardcore college football following. So let's first talk about your playing days. What was it like playing, at Alabama, Roll Tide, Tuscaloosa? What was that like? Like, for somebody who's never played collegiate ball, please explain what that was like.
Well, it's a trip, man. I mean, it was kind of funny because I'm from Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
So big city kid, grew up I was born in Los Angeles, grew up in Dallas. So like the smallest town I ever lived in was Dallas. So like going to Tuscaloosa, it was like, man, this is wild. But in Texas, I think you can make a pretty strong case that it's probably the most passionate high school football state in the entire country. So, like, where I went to high school, people were insane. I mean, literally insane. So I think it really, when I got to Bama, it kind of aligned with what I'd grown up in. And, like, I want people that are losing their minds on every snap. So it felt like home in a lot of ways, even though it could not have been more different from where I grew up. But it's become home now. Love every single thing about playing for Coach Saban and learning from Coach Saban. And I still say to this day, like, my dad's my biggest influence in my life. Coach Saban is probably my second. And I say that with relative ease because there's not really it's a pretty big gap between who's 3 and 4 and 5. So pretty amazing to have spent time with him and to have won a championship and to have had all those experiences.
So let's talk about a couple things, because now I want to segue into quite a few things. First thing I want to segue into, talk about, that 2019 winning the national championship. And then the second part of that, talk about how you and Nick Saban's relationship evolved. Because now, he's kind of joining your side of things.
I know.
So
he's a part of the enemy now
yeah,
too, right? You know what's funny is that 2009 team. A lot of people always ask the question, did you enjoy the ride? I was like, heck no. I mean, you know what I mean? You think it seems fun, and look, we celebrated the wins, and then, you almost, though, after every game, you're almost kind of relieved, more so than you are happy or fired up or excited. You're more like relieved, all right, we got it done, what's up next? All right, next up, boom, got it done, what's up next? So it's kind of a journey that I don't think I fully appreciated at the time. But now looking back and reconnecting with the boys and we get together and we're talking shop, it's just incredible what we were able to do. We were so young and dumb. We didn't know anything. We knew nothing. We were so immature, and to think that we were on this run to a national championship and just how ridiculous we acted and some of the things that we were worried about or concerned about. It's why were we so concerned with that? Let's just roll, boys. But it was super fun, and it gets better every year as it gets older and you realize how hard it is to do. After we won, it's all right, we did our job. It's oh, cool, I did what I was supposed to do. I'm not doing cartwheels after I finished my TV today. I did my job, right?
Right.
But I think now once you realize how hard it is to actually win, it's gotten better. And with Coach Saban, I mean, he just taught us so much. I mean, we learned so much from him, and it almost to the point where I have to kind of rewire my brain and find happiness from time to time, because it's
right.
His whole approach is so what? What's next? And that's great, and that applies great to football. But in life, it's there are a lot of great moments I don't want to miss. You know what I mean? So it's been awesome, and it's fun to see him in this role. I think he's truly enjoying it. I don't think he realizes that we in the media are evil, but he's coming around to it now. I think he's comfortable.
That's amazing. So always college football. You don't know this, but I'm a huge fan of your show.
I appreciate it.
And I've sent some shots to your your bosses at ESPN yo, this show deserves to be on the main stage. College football feeds a lot of families, generates a lot of money. Let's get more shows like that. Yes, you get a lot, you all have a large following on ESPN on the internet, but put this on the main stage. It deserves to be there.
I appreciate that.
So talk to me about your show, Always College Football.
Well, we love it. It was born like all great ideas on a bachelor party a couple years back.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so me and my producer were on a bachelor party. Dude, we need to do a podcast. Let's do a podcast and nobody's talking about college football in a positive way. Everything around college football is negative. They're ruining the sport. It's this, it's that. It's let's just celebrate college football. Everything about college football is awesome. Now, are there parts of college football that I don't like? Yeah, of course. Do I like the salary cap, and do I think it was better back in the day? Yeah, that's the way I like it. But I'm pumped guys are getting paid. That's amazing. I don't know anyone that isn't excited about that. So I think we've made a lot of great changes to the sport, and I just think that oftentimes it's easy when you're kind of on top. The NFL's top dog, right? But we're number 2.
Right.
And I think it's easy when you're that high, it's easy to kind of rip you apart. And I think we've been easy targets because of how much change has occurred. But our whole goal on the podcast is just to celebrate it. There's so many good stories to be told, so many great moments to celebrate, and so many awesome storylines to follow every single season.
I love it. So I played this game with Matt Berry yesterday. Shout out to Matt Berry. I also played this game with Ross Dellenger earlier. So I'm going to play with you. I think I'm down about 2 minutes for our interview. I'm going to name a few teams.
All
you
right.
kind of give me a one-liner on how you feel about that team.
All right.
First team I'm going to name is Baylor. I'm super high on Baylor this year. They're actually my favorites to win the Big 12 this
Love
year.
that.
Talk to me about Baylor.
I'm with you. I like Baylor a lot. I think Sawyer Robertson's great at quarterback. I think they got a great run game. Their running back's outstanding. Aranda's amazing on defense. I think a lot of it will kind of hinge on the start. Last year they got such a slow start. This year they got Auburn week 1. So you got to roll out of the gate. So I like Baylor a lot. I think they're kind of the sleeper in the league right now.
I love that. Texas Tech.
Love them. They stockpiled their roster. I think the biggest thing is when you bring in all these high-priced, I guess you could call them free agents, if you will. Are they all going to be all in for Texas Tech the way Texas Tech was all in for them? So I think for them, it's not going to be about talent. They'll always have talent. But I do think now it's about culture, and Joey McGuire, I think, has done a pretty good job of establishing that over the last couple of years. So they're my favorites in the league right now. but I do acknowledge that there might be a couple bumps as they try to figure something out.
Excellent take. TCU.
Great quarterback, got to run the ball a little better this year. Defensively, I think there's areas to figure that out as well. They turned the ball over way too much last year. If they can just clean things up a little bit, I think they'll be a really dangerous team. Like, nobody's talking about TCU. Like,
Right.
nobody. It's like, dude, they have a quarterback that threw for 4,000, nearly 4,000. So that's a pretty good starting point in this league.
You and Matt Berry have very similar takes. That is scary.
I told him what to say. That's what it was. That's all it was. Yeah, that's all it was.
Rich Rod is back in Morgantown. We're super excited about that. How you feeling about West Virginia this upcoming year?
Well, I just don't know. Like, I mean, them and Oklahoma State are the two teams that I'm like, I have no idea.
Difficult
Because
to
there's
calibrate.
60-plus guys that are brand new. Like, Rich Rod had 35 guys that arrived in June. I mean, and 18 of them have never played college football before. It's like, I just don't know what to expect. Do I think they can be good? Yeah, I do. I think they could be dangerous. But I also think that they could finish, with a suboptimal record because there's so much new. But long-term, super bullish on West Virginia.
I appreciate your time, brother. The one last question we ask everybody, if you can have one last bowl of cereal, what would that bowl of cereal be?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Hey! You told
Wow.
Matt Berry what to say
That's
for that
a
too,
lot.
didn't you?
No, did he say that too?
Yeah.
Oh, that's an easy one. That's not even hard. I don't. Who even can answer anything other than that?
You know what? It's our number one question by far. What would be number two? Is it like Frosted Flakes or Fruity Pebbles? Yeah, but
Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah.
Fruity Pebbles pretty good.
Yeah.
I hadn't had them in a minute, but yeah, those are pretty good. You're right.
I appreciate your
you
time,
guys.
brother.
Absolutely. Thank you guys
Greg
so much.
McElroy. Hey, man. Legend. Thank you so much. We truly appreciate you.
Thank y'all again. Appreciate
So I'm gonna mute that. That was fun, man. When you get to talk ball with the light moon, come on the show, brother. You get to talk ball with a lot of these people, man. I promise you, it's something that's truly amazing. And should never be devalued, man. That was crazy. What you think about that, Moon? You unmuted?
Yo.
Yeah,
yo.
you go.
Okay. Man, you interviewed Greg McElroy.
Man, Greg McElroy is that's crazy, bro.
You gotta let that sink in.
Yeah, you do gotta let it sink in, man.
Hey, he a Cinnamon Toast Crunch guy.
Yeah, he is. He is. That's crazy. We. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, we do this, and you know what I'm saying. The reason that we do this is, to continue to push this sport forward, to continue to, be passionate about something that we love and we cared about. Back, before the CFB Nation days, R1P days, we talked about generational wealth and, all of that stuff. But, from then to now, like finding our niche, finding that it's college football. But when you get down and, get to talk to players, coaches, and then, people like Greg McElroy, you truly appreciate it, man. You really do. I think we got a Jalen Daniels interview coming up as well. Also, I talked to Ross Dellenger earlier. He's another really brilliant mind in college football. And it's crazy because you only get like 10 minutes to talk to these guys. I think Ross Dellenger gave us a little bit more time than that. I didn't even get a chance to ask Greg about Cole Kubelik because I'm sure like the way that Cole Kubelik, Josh Pate, and Greg McElroy, troll each other. It's truly elite. Man,
Always college football, baby.
always college football. Man.
It's crazy that idea came from a bachelor party.
It came from a bachelor party, and then he said that he wanted a show that was just always bigging up the sport, and that's crazy. And it's truly like made me want to relook at my approach on my show. Governor's ruling still gonna be what it is, but at the end of the day,
Sometimes you just gotta call it how it is.
Yes, yeah. Sometimes you do, right? So, we're gonna go into this Ross Dellenger interview, and then we'll be right back. Governor of College Football, we here with a guy that truly needs no introduction, Ross Dellenger, a senior college football reporter for Yahoo Sports. How you doing today, brother?
Good to join you guys.
Truly appreciate it. So I wanna get straight to it. How did you fall in love with college football? Was there a game you were watching on TV? Was there an atmosphere you were in? What was one of your earliest college football memories, and then how did you fall in love with the sport?
Yeah, well, my dad was a high school football coach, so I grew up around the game, and I grew up on the South Louisiana, South Mississippi coast, and so grew up watching LSU football and Mississippi State, Ole Miss football. And I would say that when I was in high school, the memory that sticks out to me more than any other was attending an Egg Bowl, Mississippi State and Ole Miss, and kind of falling in love with the atmosphere and the passion of college football, and that was my one memory that really kind of sticks out among all the others.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's one question I love to ask people in the media, like, how did you fall in love with this sport? Because even though I feel like this sport is truly growing and it's about to reach that apex, the heights of what it truly deserves, it's still under covered. To be honest with you. But we're here at Big 12 Media Days. How do you feel about the overall landscape of the Big 12 currently, and also how do you compare them to other Power 4 conferences?
Well, one thing that I think sets Big 12 apart is parity. You look at all the other leagues, and there's a pretty clear top 3, 4, 5 brands and a bottom 3, 4, 5 brands. And what makes the Big 12 different is you don't have that. Everybody does seem sort of in the middle, and it seems like every game is sort of a coin flip. Just a lot of parity in the league, and that's always fun. I think a good example of that is what happened last year with Arizona State being picked last in the league and then winning it. So you just kind of never know with some of these games, and the games are really fun. They're always usually high scoring and come down to the last sort of play, and that's what you get in a league like this with so much parity.
I love that. I love that answer, and I'm gonna do an exercise that I did with Matt Berry yesterday, and I'm interested to hear on how you feel about certain teams. I'm going to name a team, and you kind of give me a one-liner. Kind of the first couple of thoughts that come to your mind about a team. I'm super high on Baylor this year. I'm kind of all in on Baylor this year. I believe they can do what Arizona State did last year. I think they're loaded offensively. How do you feel about Baylor?
Yeah, I think that I'm going to go to more off the field stuff because that's kind of what I do. And Baylor was very behind on NIL, and maybe as behind as anybody in the country. They've caught up very quickly, and I think that's helped them. And he's got, I think, his most talented. Dave Aranda's probably got his most talented team he's had since he's been there.
I love that. Texas Tech.
It's funny. I think standing behind me, or was at some point, was the billionaire Texas Tech booster Cody Campbell, who's here today, and he has certainly helped Texas Tech in recruiting get to where they are. They've invested an incredible amount of money, but with investment to that level comes very high expectations.
For sure. I love that. I think that's a fantastic take. Arizona State.
Well, talking to Kenny Dillingham, the coach, yesterday, and he was mentioning how much they were able to retain. I think they lost just 2 players to the portal or something like that.
That's fantastic.
So he's got obviously lost his best player to the draft, but he's got everybody. Seems like everybody back, and a great quarterback in Sam Levitt. And I would think that they're most people's pick to win the league.
I would have to agree. They certainly are up there. EA Sports certainly thinks a lot of them as well. Kansas State. Let's talk about the team in Manhattan, Kansas.
Yeah, I talked a little bit to Chris Kleiman yesterday as well about their situation, and the one thing you can expect with any of Kleiman's teams is real consistency when it comes to doing the fundamentals of football. And so no matter how non-talented or talented they are, you know that they're going to be, in most games, going to be competitive in most games.
I like that. I like that a lot. Let's go to Morgantown. Rich Rod is back at West
That's
Virginia.
Right.
How you feeling about West Virginia?
Just talked to Rich. A very new team. I think he's got 70 or 75 new players.
Wow.
I think he returns 2 starters. So I think everybody in Morgantown probably needs to lower expectations for year one.
Lower your expectations. I think that's fair for year one, but we know they're going to play Rich Rod style ball. The music always kind of catch me off guard. Hopefully I'm speaking loud enough so you can hear me. You're my favorite reporter in all of college football. I'm not saying it because you're here. They'll vouch for you. My favorite reporter in college football. I kind of want to know what's your style, what's your workflow is like when you're working on a piece, because I feel like you give so much time and attention to it. It's almost like watching Steve Sarkisian on the sideline calling a play. He's in that kneel stance and he's looking at his play chart, trying to figure out what play he's going to call. What is your workflow like when you're reporting?
It just depends, you know. It gets a little harder right now because in the last few months, really, because there's just so much news and new going on. Everything's new and evolving, and there's just a lot of news to chase. And while you're trying to do that, you're obviously trying to report out stories and explain in stories how things are going and what's happening and all that. And it gets difficult. So it's a lot, but it's still satisfying to be around it and be around the game and kind of cover sort of like the historic changes that are happening right now.
It's crazy. Like one of our mottos is no off season. We make shows. Our website, my guy right there does a fantastic job with the website. But it's interesting. I always say, like, it's people like you who are able to feed us content and give us tidbits, because being a inside reporter, you're able to give us things that we may not have access to, but it also gives us plenty of talking points during the off season. Did you play football at all growing up?
No. I mean, not well. No. I was a 6'1", 150-pound offensive lineman, so I couldn't catch and couldn't run. So that didn't last very long.
Got you. So, did you play any other sports at all?
I was a golfer. I was a golfer in high school. Yeah, I don't really play much anymore. But yeah, that's about it. Just working a lot lately.
I see the work you put out, so I know that you're working nonstop. Do you have? I mean, if you ask a actor or actress their favorite piece that they worked on, a lot of them will say their next one. Do you have something like a top 5 of your favorite articles that you've done, or it may be like a favorite article that you've done?
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, I mean, the most recently, about a year and a half ago or so, and now we're in Texas, so it's a little fitting, but I wrote a story on SMU and how they got to the ACC. And I always go back to that story as, just a cool story to work on, and about how much money they spent to get in the ACC and where money is right now in college athletics and where it can get you. That's kind of the one I cite sort of in the last couple of years, but there have been a lot of them. It's hard to pick just one sometimes.
So I always like to say that the game that we get on, Saturdays, and of course, MAC action and, G5 give us a lot of football games during the week. Like during the season, it's fine. It's when we start getting to the semantic aspect of it and how we, need reform, as it pertains to tampering, or as it pertains to the portal, or as it pertains to NIL. How do you feel about the sport overall right now as it pertains to the semantics? Not so much about, the in-season game, but the off-season, a lot of stuff that we deal with. How do you feel about the sport? Do you have any ideologies as far as should we go to one portal? I've heard a lot of coaches say that. How do you feel about some of that stuff?
I think that's probably where it's going, is one portal. It probably will be in January. I don't know. Legally, that would be interesting to watch because you're further restricting athletes and their movement, and that's something that often doesn't go well, as we've seen in court in with lawsuits. So there's some legal things around that, but I do think any way that the game can kind of sort of start to stabilize and reduce movement a little bit, because that's what you hear mostly from fans complaining about. They don't know this player or that player because the team is so new. I think that is something needed, but it's also restricting player movement, and you don't really restrict coach movement, so why should you restrict player movement?
Oh, I love that. I like that a lot. So I don't think I was quite privy to the fact that some coaches have issues with the fact that we've downed the roster sizes from 120 players to 105 players. Do you have any like intel or any information on that as far as have you spoken to coaches one-on-one and how they feel about it? Like, are a lot of coaches upset about that they're losing 15 players on their team?
They are, yeah. I think most coaches, some coaches were walk-ons, so most coaches are pretty upset about losing a group of walk-ons. I think a lot of them have been pretty public that they don't, they're against the roster limit rule now. There's like a grandfathering in of all the players. If you were on the roster last year and you were going to be cut, you get to be protected. If you're going to be cut because of the roster limits, you're protected and you're kind of deemed a designated student athlete, they're calling it, and so you're protected on that roster. So you will have some schools have much bigger rosters because of their group of protected walk-ons.
I like that. Wow, I did not know that. So we're gonna get into our superlative segment. Then we're gonna get you out of here. So these are really fun questions. If you were commissioner for a day, what would be the first thing you change?
Well, I'd hire a commissioner.
I love that.
I'd hire somebody to preside over the whole. Yeah,
that answer counts as well. Are you a big fan? Do you listen to music a lot at all, or
music? Yeah, I listen to music.
Who you
I mean,
listen
not
to?
anything particular, but I'm kind of like an old school guy. I grew up in the '90s, so
Same.
I like it. '90s music is kind of where I go.
So I'm sure you've been able to see the game at field level, see it from the press box, see it from your television. What's your favorite way to watch the game?
The field is, you can't see everything when you're on the field like you can in the press box or even on TV, but it's pretty. You really get a good feel for the game and how physical it is, and it's always shocking when you're down there.
I would have to agree with you. There was a time we were at Maryland and USC game, and I kind of was looking at Zachariah Branch's body language, and then I texted. He remember. I was like, I don't think he's going to be here next year. Sometimes you could tell, and then there's things like I never knew that Lincoln Riley, like most coaches' play call sheets are huge. He has like a card about that
Very
big,
small.
so it's just some things that, like you say, you see from field level, even though you can't watch it,
Right.
you know the way you watch it on television. But there's just little intel that you get, and it's amazing. So final question. We ask this question to everybody: if you can have one bowl of cereal, what's your last bowl of cereal? What are you having in that bowl, brother?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Hey, that's the most popular answer.
Yeah, is it? Yeah.
Yes, by far.
Fruit Loops is is just a little behind.
Just a little behind, but
yeah.
cinnamon. So,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, Ross Dellenger, man, he's one of the who's who of the college football community. I truly appreciate your time, brother.
No,
you
good
have
to
a
be
good
on.
one.
Thanks.
All righty. Governor of College Football. All righty, we're back live. Really great 24-hour period of content. My boy Moon just said something I didn't even think about. He said in 24 hours, I've talked to Matt Berry, Greg McElroy, and Ross Dellenger. That's pretty spectacular.
Hey man, put some respect on the governing name. For real, I'll say it. Y'all don't want to say it? I'll say it. My boy got Matt Berry, Greg McElroy, freaking Ross Dellenger.
These are the brilliant minds of the sport, man. True brilliant minds of the sport. So it's 3:36 p.m. We're about to get ready to wrap up Governor of College Football. Short episode today. I still got a lot of interviews behind the scenes. Me and Moon haven't even touched yet. We'll get those uploaded. I'll upload each of these individual interviews, and I'll chop up some of these with shorts. So I can't wait to see what we have with that.
Yeah.
Fun 2 days here. I can't wait to do a recap episode. I'm hoping Moon can join me for a recap episode. We should get home around the same time tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we could definitely do a collab for the recap episode. We got to get ready. World of College Football is coming up soon. More player interviews are coming up. We got a really big player interview coming up. Moon, you want to spoil it or you want to make them come and watch it?
They just got to come and watch.
Hey, Moon says y'all got to
Hey,
come.
it all got set up by Mikey B, though.
He got
set up by Mikey B.
He said he got set up by Mikey B. What Mikey B do, cuz?
More than chilling.
As I always like to say, there are no more victories to the sport that survive for the fans. That's why college football has the greatest regular season. I want to give a special thanks to our team, Nino, Boomer, Jalen, D-Now.
I'm not you good, boss.
Moon,
Hey,
Mike,
I got
Jalen,
Parrish.
Everybody back at home, my parents who's been rooting us on this entire time. Shout out to Matt Enser for extending an invite to the CFB Nation, getting us here on Radio Row. Thank him for going the extra mile to even thank us for being here on time both days and actually creating content both days, not leaving early. He truly appreciated that. So shout out to him. Shout out to Commissioner Yormark. Shout out to all the players that we've interviewed over the past 2 days. You guys haven't seen all of them. We got quite a few of them. Big 12 is elite. Big 12 is coming this year. So just shout out to everybody. Most importantly, I kind of shout him out, but I want to really shout him out, man. Shout out my boy Mike. Come around, man. Mike,
yeah, get your time, my dog.
shout out my boy Mike, man, our creative director. Really made a lot of this happen. There'll be times where like, yo, can you go get him? Can you know what I'm saying? And he's just running around making things happen. I knew that it was going to be pivotal, you know what I'm saying?
Yo.
When I started this process, I knew it'd be pivotal to have somebody who's from where I'm from and somebody that I trust. And if it came down to it and we had to be scrapping, we was going to be scrapping. And I had to, and it's important to have somebody like that around you, somebody who kind of see the world the same way I see it, brother. I appreciate you, man, for
You
real.
already know.
Man, make this process super simple, super easy. Moon, you get in here too. I ain't tell you to leave, bro. Shout out to my dog, Moon. These dudes, man, they keep me motivated, keep me focused. They all want the same things that I want, you know what I'm saying, as it pertains to generational wealth and just really creating a way for the next generation and the generations beyond that, man. And it's important that people that look like us can come to these events and show out and come out and kill it. And I'm starting to run into too much time, but just shout out to everybody. Mike, you got anybody you want to shout out?
Man, shout out to everybody, man. Shout out the team, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the supporters, That's all I got, man.
Hey, man, Mike don't say much, man, but when he talk to everybody, listen, man. So shout out to y'all. We out of here, man.